Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draft Glory franchise mode here in MLB The Show 24. So in last episode, we had the off season and simulated the rest of the season, and we're up here with the start of year number 3. And I'm very excited just for the future of this team because we're building up a decent prospect pool. And obviously things are starting to come together a little bit. Obviously it's still going to take us a long time to still build up this team more so, but excited to get to another draft obviously for next episode and continue building up the squad, because right now obviously we have a pretty good group of prospects, also some guys that have really assimilated a lot better than we expected. So just very excited to see what this team's looking like in the future. But you can see basically everybody here with a good overall is people that we have drafted either in the Rule 5 draft or drafted in general. And everybody else here below, I did basically lower their overall ratings and stuff like that, not their durability, so that way they don't get re-injured like I was mentioning before. Also, they do have still their normal potential, so they basically might not retire after 1 year, which is hopefully what happens. Hopefully these guys don't all retire, because if it does happen, then we're going to have to bring in more roster players again next season. But obviously, if they don't retire, we could just literally bring back a lot of these no-name players. But I loaded everybody down. Basically, the only overall they have right now is because of their durability, and I guess because of their potential. It gives them a little bit of an overall boost. It's kind of interesting because I could lower them down to 1, but I think their durability actually has to be lowered completely to get them to a 1 overall. But yeah, we still have our normal roster, so we have like Russell Yang, we have Yokoyama, I should say, Yabu, who's currently injured, which kind of sucks, but he is one of the good potential prospects. He's got a fractured arm at the moment. We also have Vincent Zio, Charles Nomo, Raymond Park, Peter Yamazaki, Stan Nguyen, Walter Cho, Tom Koo, Walter Young, Tom Lee, Brian Chu, Shintaro Fujinami, who was a Rule 5 pickup, Yu Sheng, who was also a Rule 5 pickup, and Parker Iwamura. So starting to build together that squad, and yeah, like I said, I'm very excited obviously for this upcoming draft, just because there is a lot of Asians, it looks like, in this draft, which means hopefully we could get ourselves some good prospects to just make this prospect pool even better than it currently is. But anyways, let's get into your guys' comments before we end up doing some scouting and seeing what this draft class is going to be looking like for next episode, and hopefully it is a good one. So the first two comments are from Rebecca's Weiss Woods, which says, that trade just proves the AI looks at potentials, so players that are A1 will need to drop down in potential to a D rating. Personally, I would have taken that trade and put the person in triple or double A at A, depending on where most players you have in that league. Pitchers might look better and hitters might look better, lol. On a different note, adjust the batting orders and pitching in the minors to put your players in the right spots. And we're not even making trades anyways in this series, so it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah, that trade logic was kind of weird because we got offered basically a high A potential prospect, or was it a B potential prospect, for a guy that was literally like a 1 overall and had potential. So it literally made no sense whatsoever. But hopefully SDS eventually readjust the trade logic and stuff like that, because I know the trade logic in this game hasn't been usually that great over the last few years, so hopefully that improves a little bit. But I did already go ahead and adjust the lineups in the pitching rotation for AA. As you can see here, we have all of our top prospects in their right spots in both versus right-handers and left-handers. And then if we go to our pitching rotation, we have Iwamura as our number 1 starter, Young is number 2, Nguyen is number 3, and we are going to be using Tom Koo as a closer. Because I was talking to Nick in the Discord, and he said that he would probably be better as a closer because he was so good last year as a reliever. So that's what we're going to be using him as for now, as a closer in AA. But in the MLB, maybe he'll be more of a reliever, more of a closer, depending on if we have any good closers at that stage or not. But he's a very good pitcher, so I think he's in a good spot being a closer in AA. So everything is set up there and ready to go. And Rebecca also says that this early of the drug, don't pay attention to their potential. You could also use a D potential when you're not ready to contend, and they usually do good. So I don't know what you mean by drug, but yeah, in terms of D potential players can be useful early on for sure, as long as they don't start regressing fast enough, I guess. That's when it's a little bit scary. Like Tom Lee's at 64 overall. He's batting at 286 already in AA, but he's got D potential. So if that potential goes up, he'll obviously do a lot better. But obviously if he starts regressing and he's down to like a 60 overall and keeps on regressing, that's when we're going to get into a bad spot. But I hope that he gets a potential boost because of having a good solid overall for only being 18. The next comment is from Trailer Park Boys, who says, don't forget that potential can increase in this game, so hopefully some of the potentials can increase and the players get better. Also, closers seem to always drop in the draft for me, so maybe you could get a closer with the 38th pick. And yeah, players can get better potentials in this game. Also, we're going to be adjusting potentials because I already did a couple things according to Nick, which we'll get to in a little bit in terms of potential. But yeah, basically, I guess if players perform well, maybe their potential will go up. So I'm hoping that a couple guys like even Tom Koo obviously gets more of a potential boost from this game because he had a really good year last year in AA, and they didn't give him a boost, but we gave him a bit of a boost, which I'll get to in a little bit. But he was also saying that closers seem to always drop in the draft a little bit, so we might be able to get ourselves a closer in the competitive round balance pick at number 38, which would be very nice if that's the case, because there is a closer that we might look at in this draft. So I'll show you him once we actually get to scouting, and he's definitely one I want to scout out for the upcoming draft class. And the last and final comment is from Nick Bucker Barons OC, who says, minor league stock watch. Well, Jim, we're on to the Tropic Turtles. This ragtag bunch is maybe the worst team we've ever seen, recording 0 wins in the majors. So this is really all they have to look forward to. Let's start with the +5 Ozzie Cardenas Award. Biggest surprise of the year is Tom Koo as a reliever. He had the most innings pitched in all of AA. Despite this, he was one of the best whips and ERAs, along with a good strikeout rate. They had no one else to go to, and it did not matter because Koo proved he could handle any task thrown at him, having one of the best minor league relieving seasons ever. To put that in perspective, the best ever relief pitching WAR season ever was an 8.4 WAR, while 5th best is just 6.2, which means 5.4 is one of the best possible WARs a relief pitcher could have in a season. This is made all of the more impressive by the fact that the major league teams play 24 more games. So in 138 games, he got a top 10 WAR season ever if it were in the majors. Could not find relief pitcher WAR for minor league all-time leaders. Not to mention, no one ever managed to hit a home run off him in 6 innings in the majors. +3, Parker Iwermer was a stud starting pitcher that had an amazing year and could be in line for an even bigger boost if he keeps up that 2.87 ERA. Is amazing. Walter Young, starting pitcher, had a hot start that saw him in the running for the best pitcher in all of AA. He slowed down to have a good but not generational 3.24 ERA. He profiles to be an ace at some point still, even with that rough second half stretch. Peter Yamazaki at catcher might seem like an odd inclusion, but over a 1 WAR at one of the hardest positions to find is impressive. A solid hitting year for a catcher at 18 with outstanding contributions in the field make it hard to not see his upside. And yeah, that's basically our growth. So what he was saying from that is, yeah, Tom Koo got a +5 boost in terms of potential. So I don't remember what his potential is now, but he is still a C potential for now. I think he's up to a 75 potential, if I remember right, something like that. But he was so good last year that he is got some boost. He also did play 6 games in the major leagues, going 9 innings with giving up 8 hits, which is not ideal. But he didn't allow a single walk, or did he walk anybody? He walked 1 person. He had 8 strikeouts, didn't give up a single run, and yeah, you can see that WHIP is just below 1. So he had a really good outing. I would say through those 6 games he played. Obviously, he could be back in the majors probably pretty soon if he develops even faster. And then, yeah, Iramura, Young, and Yamazaki all got +3 boosts. Young is already up to max potential at 99 potential, so he cannot go any higher. Just a little heads up on that. He could still drop off depending if he has a bad season or not, which right now he's off to a bad start, but we'll obviously see if he continues on that bad trajectory or not. But that was basically Nick's prospect review. If you guys have any suggestions for guys that deserve potential boosts in the future other than Nick, let me know, and we could kind of make a balanced approach on who gets a boost and who doesn't. So anyways, let's get into scouting out this draft class a little bit, because we are going to go up to a week or so before the draft. Now, we are going to be doing a little bit of a different scouting method this year. Basically, you can see here these 2 scouts, which is Lombardo and Davis. Basically, Lombardo is going to be scouting pitchers internationally for the first 4 weeks, and then he's going to be changing over to pitchers in each of the other regions, so that way we could get a little bit of looks into the Asian Americans as well, because obviously the last few years we've been only scouting out internationally. And then this guy's going to be doing infielders internationally and then changing over to West, Central, and East. And then this guy is just going to be doing individual players for now. Eventually, for the last, I guess, 2 weeks or so of this, though, he will, everybody will be scouting individual players. So I don't know how good of a thing this is going to do for us, but I think it'll give us a better read on if there's any more Asians in this draft other than the ones that we currently have found. So anyways, that's that. Let's get into scouting. So we do have Sasaki getting scouted out to start off with because I think he could be a really good player. He might be a 99 potential, he might not be, but if he is a 99 potential and he has a high overall, obviously he's somebody that we would want for this team. So he's definitely the first priority in terms of scouting out for this upcoming week. He's also the highest projected Japanese player in this draft. There is also a closer that I'll probably scout out once we have these guys scouted a little bit longer. So anyways, let's get into simulating here in year 3. And our team probably won't win its first game in franchise history, but never say never. Let's go through this week and see if we can find out any information on Mr. Suzuki, because hopefully he is pretty good. Let's go auto on that. We're still suffering some injuries, which is kind of funny considering most of those guys still actually have durability. Okay. Ooh, 40% scouted so far on Sasaki. He's still looking pretty good. He might have a very high overall and a decently high potential if that's not a 68 potential. We're obviously going to still scout him out longer. And we have already discovered a couple new pitchers, which is good internationally. Yeah, I'll wait till week 4, I think, before I'll change these guys' locations. Just because I want to be able to find out as much as possible about this upcoming class. Let's see. Yabu is almost eligible to be reinstated. Let's go auto on that for now, since he's actually one of the prospects we care about in a sense, even though he's only got D potential. And Sasaki up to 75% now. Looks like he's between a 52 and a 72 overall with 70 to 90 potential. Not as much blue stats as we were thinking originally, I think. But he still could be a pretty good power hitter, apparently. Not the best vision and discipline. Should I take him out for the week? 75% scouted is pretty good. Let's scout out some other people as well while we have the chance. Maybe. He's 75% scouted. I could scout him out fully, since he's our first round talent potentially. You know what? I will scout him out till he's 100% scouted out. Or at least 90-something% scouted out. Because if he's going to be our first round talent, we want to know for sure. And then I'll change him over to a different player for the upcoming week after that. So let's go another week and see what we're rocking with now. Okay, so Sasaki, he dropped a little bit more. He's still pretty good though, 55 to 70 overall, so he could be a very high overall and also could be an 80 potential, 88 potential. So he's not going to be an A potential guy, but still. Okay, let's change our scouts over. So edit scouting assignment, you're going to be still on pitchers, but you're going to be going to with the West, and you're going to be also going over to infielders in the West, and then we are going to change out you. And I need to look at my list because I made a note file, I think, on who I was wanting to scout out in this upcoming draft class. So I got to look at that. Let me see here. I gotta make this full screen so I could actually read it. Or actually, let's make this minimized. There we go. Okay, so after Sasaki, I wanted to scout out the closing pitcher. The question is this scout actually that good at scouting pitchers? I don't think he was. But I'll still scout out the closer, I think, with this guy. So let's go to Chung, because he is a high projected Asian guy that might have 99 potential. We also want to scout out Yamamoto, who might have 99 potential, Taguchi, stuff like that. I want to scout out the guys that might have high ceilings first. So let's go another few weeks and see if we could find anything about this closer. I might take him in the first round, to be honest, if he's actually really good. Because some closers do go in the first round, I think. But obviously they could fall to the second round as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, so far so good with Richard Chung. 47 to 74, might have a 96 potential. Okay. I hope he's actually really good because that would be really nice. Because we do need a closer unless we want to use Tom Koo as one. So far so good. We are discovering more prospects in these states, which is good. Hopefully their interest is getting decently high as well. Because obviously that's an important thing when actually signing those players. We're not making trades in the series, but thank you though, Detroit. Okay. Okay, so Richard Chung's looking pretty good. I think 75% scouted is where I want to keep him. He's looking 50 to 70 overall and maybe having an A potential. That's pretty good. He could definitely fall to maybe the competitive round bounce pick, or he might even go first round, though, to be honest, too. Who knows, but still, that guy might be decent. Okay, so there's also Yamamoto, who could have a 99 potential, I think, if I remember right, based on my order here. Oh, yeah. Who was the one that was, like, really intriguing in this draft? I think it was Taguchi. I don't remember exactly, but let me go to the Taguchi first, because I think relief pitchers aren't super important. They are eventually, but let's go to Taguchi here and get him scouted out as well. And we still have a little bit longer before we change those scouts regions a bit. Okay, let's see on Taguchi what we got so far. Looking okay so far, but he's still not looking, in terms of his attributes, I think he's more of a speed steal throat. Like, he's not going to be super enticing here. Let's do one more week with Taguchi. I don't think I want to scout him out too much, because I don't know if he's going to be really that much of a talent. So, not making a trade. Thank you, though, Reds. Mitre, boom. Auto on that. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so Taguchi actually might have a pretty damn good potential, but he also might be a project. If we want more shortstops, Mark Taguchi looks like he could be a decent player, so that's not too bad. Let's change out the next prospect. Let's go to Chung, because Chung was the guy we were going to draft last year, and obviously then he didn't appear in the draft class, so let's see if we can find out more about William Chung. I think he's going to be a 99 potential guy, but obviously he might be a little bit of a low overall, so he might be a good late round steal if we get to that. Let's go auto utilize on that. Yep, that's good. Decline auto on that. I don't really care about those players at all, because they're not project players, or prospect players, I should say. And auto on that. I think it said Yabu was back, so I got to double check that AA is fine. But yeah, Chung is probably going to be a high potential guy. Don't think I'm going to scout him out more than that, because I want to get a feeling on a lot of these prospects here first. Yamada was another interesting one I think I had on my list, because he might be a high overall of the draft. I want to see where Yamada is. Where are you, Yamada? There you are. Yeah, Yamada might have a high overall, so we want to scout out him. I think there was another intriguing one too, but I can't remember who. Let's change out the regions on these guys. I think I forgot to do that for the last week, but that is okay. Let's do central on that. We'll do that for 3 weeks. Let's see what we got for this week of scouting. Let's go auto fix lineups on that. Walter Cho has been injured. That's another one of our prospects. Let's go auto on that for now too. Some of those guys don't matter too much because they're deep potential guys, but still. I do want to check and make sure AA is still set up properly here. Yabo did get put back into the lineup, and he is growing overall wise, which is really nice. Yokoyama should be back in the lineup, but I don't know where he was playing. I think he was playing second base. Yeah, but there's no way I could get him into that spot unless I'd put... I should probably put Yokoyama in that spot instead. Unless, is he against lefties? No, he's not. Let me take a look at the contact. Yeah, Yokoyama is not very good right now, but he is better potential-wise, so let's swap him and Yabu. And I guess Yabu will have to be a bench player. Yeah, that's probably what it's going to be the case. Looks like Tom Lee's having a good start. I'm not trying to look at any player stats yet till the end of this episode, though. We'll leave Yabu in against left-handers, just so that way both of them are playing at least a little bit. Okay, scouting-wise. Okay, Yamada is going to be maybe a high overall, low potential guy. I'm not going to scout him out anymore, but he's still kind of an intriguing guy in that sense. Let's go to that relief pitcher in Yamamoto. I do want to know a bit more about him as well. There he is, Eric Yamamoto. Let's go another week. Let me just change this over so we can actually see the majors. I hope this is a good draft class. Let me go Auto utilize on Cho. That should utilize him properly, I think. 0-70 now. Let's take a look at scouting. Okay, Yamamoto is still looking intriguing so far. I think this draft class still might be decent for us, but it's really tough to tell. Let's go one more week. Auto on that. Auto on that. Auto on that. Jesus, man, there's still a lot of injuries with even the durability being normal. It's kind of crazy. Yamamoto is looking pretty good. In terms of potential players, he could be a decent relief pitcher, kind of similar to what Tom Koo was. So I don't mind that, but obviously he's not going to be a high round pick for us. Anybody else that I really want to scout out here? Let's look at all the ones that I had interest in. So if we go through this list, at the Asian list, actually I should look at the recently scouted out players. Benny Crane and stuff like that, Castillo. No Asians there whatsoever. I should have probably looked at that every single week again, like Nick was mentioning last season. I completely forgot about it, so that's not great. Let's actually go to the back half of the draft and see the back half and see if there's anybody interesting back here that I didn't notice before. Oh, there's Jason Irabu. He was another interesting closer. Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I should definitely scout out Irabu here. Let's do that. Let's do that. Irabu looks intriguing to me as a closing pitcher. That could fall to the second round, so let's keep him like that. And for the last 2 weeks, oh man, we didn't even scout out the East yet. That's okay. We're going to cancel these scouting assignments for this one. And we're going to scout out just fully individual players for the rest of this up until the week of the draft. So let's see. This guy's better with pitchers, so we'll look at some pitchers with him. Who do I want to know about most in terms of pitchers? There's Tan and Shin that I have not scouted out yet. Jay Shin. Okay, what about Tan? Where is Tan? Tan's way further back, I guess. Or is Tan not even a starting pitcher? Oh, no, there's Tan. And only maybe 2 blue stats. I'm going to go with Shin here, I think, for this guy to scout out. So let's get Shin scouted out. Jay Shin. And then this guy's going to do infield player and an infield player. So who do we want to scout out here? We have the first baseman Shin, so 2 Shins. Do we want to scout out both Shins? There's also Theodore Lee. 3 blue, maybe 2 blue. So maybe Theodore Lee would be better of the bunch. Hard to say on who we want to scout out. Oh, there's a new guy too, right here. Michael Kuo. But he also doesn't look super good. So that's not great. Let's see if there's any new players that we didn't discover yet that we could scout out. William Chu, probably a high overall, but 23 years old is not intriguing really to me. Michael Fong is definitely not looking really as good as we were hoping for last year, so don't think we're going to scout out him anymore. William Chu is the guy we just literally saw, so let's go to third base, see if there's anybody here. Kevin Sato from Washington. I guess we found this guy out. He has 70% interest, so that's good that we found these guys with some good interest, but obviously Sato is not somebody I think I would take yet. Just gotta see what else there is. See if there's anybody else that the scouts found us. Hopefully they did find us some more players too. Mark Taguchi we scouted out a lot already. Michael Wong could be decent. Yeah, Michael Wong could be a solid steal. Michael Wong. Yeah, you know what? Let's do Michael Wong, sure. So we'll get those guys scouted out for the final few weeks up until the draft. We'll only scout out for, I guess, like a little bit longer. Not too much longer. Just to see how good these prospects are. And then we'll take a look at what we've scouted out this entire episode. And hopefully we found some good prospects. And hopefully they don't disappear like last year, because that would be pretty damn annoying. Okay, 0-83. Let's take a look at what we got so far. Yeah, Irabu might have a good overall out of the draft, to be honest. Like, his potential looks like a B potential type of guy, maybe. But he could have still a really good starting overall, which is intriguing. Jay Shin as well might be actually pretty decent, too. And we also have Michael Wong, who's looking like maybe a high overall guy as well. Let's let them get scouted out for one more week. So this will be our last week of simming in this episode, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, last week of simming in this episode. And then we'll take a look at what we've scouted out about this point. And then if you guys have anything intriguing that I should scout out to start next episode, let me know. Let's put anybody here. Doesn't really matter who's pitching in the majors, because we're not going to try and call up like Tom Koo or something like that. Auto on Cal Conley, JP Gallo as well. Vincent Seo has torn his MCL and he's out for over 6 months. Well, that's not great. We're going to go auto on that, but that is not great. That's almost like a career-ending injury potentially for Vincent Seo, who's one of our top prospects. Oh boy, that's not great. Let's go auto-fix lineups on that. That's not really what I wanted to see to end this episode, but oh well. Okay, so Irabu, damn, he's not looking as good anymore, but he could be still high overall out of the draft. 75% scouted, might have still a lot of blue stats, so Irabu is still kind of intriguing in that sense. Jay Shin, not too bad, not too bad. He could be a decent B potential guy, but not an A potential. And then same with Michael Wong. Let's remove everybody from this list and see what we have scouted out at this point, though. Let's see. So if we go to, I guess we'll just go all players and see what we've scouted out. Let's go with our team rank and MLB rank as well. So actually, this is just only the top 100 though. So you know what? We're just gonna go through every single prospect that we've scouted up to this point. I don't even know who's the highest rated of the bunch of people we've scouted out though. So Richard Chung is probably the guy that would be the best of the bunch, because he could be an A potential guy. However, you guys said that he might fall to the 38th pick, so we could take him then maybe and go with the other guy instead. But Richard Chung is looking pretty good. Then next closest one was Sasaki. I really like Sasaki still as a power hitting guy that has good fielding. But obviously his vision and discipline is probably going to need some work. I think he would definitely go before the closer, but I don't know for sure on that front. He might be the guy we could grab in the competitive round balance pick instead. So, there's that. Who else we got here? Also, if you guys see anybody that I haven't scouted out yet that should be scouted out, let me know. And we could scout them out for the final week just to get some baseline information on them. Jay Shin is the next one with the B potential. He looks pretty good as a starting pitcher prospect to add to the prospect pool that we have of starting pitchers, which we only have 3 of them at the moment. What else we got here? Sayaoka, we didn't even scout out at all either. He could be a really good outfielder potentially. I don't know if we want to scout him out or not, if it's worth it. What else we got here? There's a lot of prospects in this draft, so gonna take a bit to find them all. Is this guy Asian? Nope. Buddy Fitzgerald. What else we got here? Mark Taguchi is also another guy that I think I really like, just based on the fact that he might be an A potential guy. And he's also only 18, so that would help out a lot. He's more of a speed steal threat, but his other stats aren't really that great for a shortstop. He can play second and third base too, which is good, but I don't know if he's the best player in the world, but he might be a guy we have to take regardless just to give us more depth. There's also Eric Yamamoto as a reliever, which is something I would probably take, just to give us another reliever like Tom Koo. That might be a high overall, low potential kind of guy that could definitely outgrow that. So there's Yamamoto. What else we got here? Is there anybody that I didn't scout out at all either? William Chu is there. I don't know if he's going to be really much of anything if he's worth scouting out, but William Chu is another guy. There's Michael Wong too, who we just scouted out. Seems like there's a couple shortstops in this draft. There's also Walter Choi, who I forgot to scout out. I think he would definitely be a guy to scout out for the last week, so we can kind of get a little bit more info on him. Maybe get that interest higher too. What else we got here? Oh yeah, there's also Darren Hoffman, who's technically Asian, which is kind of weird, but he could be another guy to scout out. Seems like there's a couple center fielders in this draft that might end up joining the team. Theodore Lee's another guy that we could scout out for the final week as a first baseman. I think I already know kind of who we want to scout out for this last week. William Chung's definitely a guy I would probably take in this draft because he's a high potential guy maybe. And he's also got probably a low overall, but still he could develop into being a decent outfielder for us. Hopefully he doesn't disappear before the draft again, because that would be kind of annoying. One of you guys were saying that it only shows the top 200 prospects or something in a draft, which would be kind of dumb if they do that. Kevin Sato, probably a low potential guy, but he also has a very good vision and discipline, but he doesn't really have power. He does have the contact, which is intriguing maybe. He's only 20% scouted though. So it's a bit of a weird one. He is already 23 as well, but he could be a solid stopgap in the lineup if he's one of those guys that are still there in the draft, if he doesn't disappear. There's also William Shin, who we could still scout out if we want to scout out a guy for another week. He's maybe a good power hitting against righties, good arm strength. Anybody else? Christian Park, forgot to scout out him as well, but he could be a decent outfielding kind of guy. Any other interesting names here for the upcoming drafts? Oh yeah, Michael Kuo, another guy that we discovered. Could be a good contact hitter with good vision, which is intriguing. Like, that potential range is the exact same as the overall range, which makes me feel like he could be a 70 with like 71 potential or something like that. If he's a good contact hitter and good vision and discipline, he could definitely outgrow his potential too, which would be intriguing. So Michael Kuo might be intriguing to find out a bit more about, or just take in general and hope that he's actually good. But obviously we'd have to get that interest meter higher to probably sign him, or we'd probably have to wait till the offseason. There's also Imasa as a relief pitcher, but I don't think he's as good as Yamamoto is, but we could scout out him a little bit longer. Is there anybody else intriguing? Let's see. This is such a long list of prospects, and we discovered a lot more of them too in this episode, so there's probably guys that I didn't even notice before. Doesn't seem like there's a lot near this later stage of the draft. There's Ken Chan, but he doesn't look really that intriguing. Yeah, I don't think he'd be worth scouting out, but he's another reliever, so it seems like a good amount of relievers in this draft potentially for us. There's Boyd Yokoyama. Yeah, I don't think it's worth drafting him, but he might be a high-ish overall, but 22 already, so that's not great. Anything else? There's Michael Fong. Not really liking Michael Fong, which kind of sucks because I thought he was going to be good last year, but not so much. Anybody else? Not Walter Tan. Vincent Tan. Vincent Tan's another guy to definitely still scout out, I think, just because he could have a 99 potential. So we could scout out him for like the last week as well for sure. Based on that, he might be an A potential guy. Yamada, he's probably a high overall, low potential guy, but another guy that could get drafted, maybe. Permitted he's still in the draft class. Yeah, there's a lot more options, I think, in this year's draft than last year. I think this draft scouting method might have worked a little bit better. Maybe. Maybe it'll work the same amount. I guess it'll depend if we can actually sign all our prospects or not. Kevin Choi. Probably not really much of anything, but still, there's a late round closer. And then there's Irabu, who's still kind of intriguing to me, even though he might have a low potential. It's just that overall range is pretty good. Like, he's probably going to be a high overall as an 18-year-old. He might be a low potential guy, like a B potential, a C potential. But his strikeouts per 9, his hits per 9, his pitch control, arm strength looks pretty good at 75% scouted. Does also have a lot of interest, so wouldn't be too hard to probably sign him. Anybody else, though? Nobody else. Okay, so I think it's probably like our first round pick is definitely between the closer and also Sasaki. So it's either probably Richard Chung with our first pick, or we go with Mr. Sasaki. I think Sasaki would probably be my first round selection, to be honest. And then I'd probably go with the closer in number 38, number 72 and stuff like that. I have no idea about, but there's that. Final few things we got to do to end this episode. Let's take a look at how good our prospects have been doing in AA. And I think they'll be at that point. So let's go to AA. And so far, Parker Iwamura is 3-8. He's got a 2.89 ERA and a 1.06 WHIP. So he's pretty much building upon last year. And he's up to a 71 already at 20. So he's still growing good. And he should have a pretty good WAR, my guess. Yeah, 2.5. 13 quality starts, and he's played 17 games. So Iowa is having a really good year again in Double-A. Walter Young is kind of struggling, to be honest. So, not good for one of the top prospects in baseball. A 5.49 ERA and a 1.37 WHIP. He is growing overall-wise. He started 16 games, has 6 quality starts. Yeah, this is definitely a little bit of a rough year for Walter, unfortunately, as we kind of figured with how he started off the season. Stan Nguyen in his first season, a 4.04 ERA and a 1.28 WHIP. Not super great either. He's up to a 61 now. Started 16 games, has 6 quality starts. So him and Young have both been pretty similar. Iowa has definitely been the best out of the pitchers for sure. If we go to the batters now, actually we do still have Walter Cho to look at for starting pitchers. Or not starting pitchers, for relievers. And also Mr. Koo. So Walter Cho, he's a deep potential guy, and he's already kind of regressing in some areas. Not ideal. And he's got a 1.4 WAR, though, which is pretty good. Pretty good that he's in positive WAR, though, but he's definitely struggled a bit. It has been our boy Tom Koo. Not as good as last year, but still, ERA 3.07 is pretty good, and a 1.17 WHIP. 47 strikeouts through 55 innings as a closer. He is growing. Up to a 62 now. How's his WAR looking? A 1.3 WAR. So he's been actually kind of worse in a sense of show. Maybe we should put him back to a reliever, Tom Koo. I don't know. In terms of our batters, let's see what we got here. Yabu batting only a 174, but he is a deep potential guy. He is growing, which is good, but still, that's pretty terrible. Russell Yang batting at 225. Okay. All right. To 48 at 21. Tom Lee has been really good. Holy crap. Tom Lee's going to outgrow that deep potential. I can tell you that now. Tom Lee is playing great. 10 home runs, 29 RBIs. Batting at a 297. So Tom Lee will definitely outgrow his potential for sure. He's already got 11 doubles as well. Does make sense with the batting. His power is going down, which is kind of dumb with the amount of home runs he has. But I think Tom Lee's definitely due for an upgrade if he continues like that. Charles Nomo is also doing really well. He's batting at 277. So a lot of these guys are doing pretty well here early on. That's really good to see that our batters are actually doing better, because last year was always our pitchers. He's got a 0 WAR though, but he's been pretty solid, Charles Nomo. Brian Chu batting at 210, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs. Not terrible. Not a great OPS though, and he's negative in WAR, so he's been kind of struggling a bit, which sucks. Raymond Park as a DH, 9 home runs, 24 RBIs. He is developing as well as a D. But yeah, he hasn't been super crazy good either. Yeah, couple guys struggling. Yamazaki batting at 219. He is still developing. He's also kind of struggled a bit here, but he's been kind of average. Yokoyama batting at 254. Okay, Yokoyama, not bad. Not bad at all. I'll take it. But he is negative in WAR. And then also we need to take a look at the injured player, which was the D potential guy in Yabu. I think it was Yabu, right? No, it was Seo with the torn MCL. Oh my goodness. Poor guy. Yeah, that might be a career ender. He's only got C potential, but still, that's not great. 2 home runs, 21 RBIs. He was doing decent. Yeah, he was actually pretty decent in a span that he was playing before that torn MCL. But his career might be coming to an end because of that. That's not great. So there's that, and I think that's almost it, if I'm not mistaken. Let's take an updated look at the top prospect list quickly. So Walter is still at number 2 despite kind of struggling this season. What else we got here? We should have our other prospects on here too, right? Yamazaki's at 34. Not too bad. Nguyen's at number 42. That's his debut on this list. We have Nomo and Iwamura at 54 and 55. So Iwamura has climbed up a lot, because I think I looked between episodes and he was at 99 to start the season. Now he's jumped to 55 on this list. So that's great to see. Anybody else? Anybody else? Nobody else in the top 100. Okay, that's fine. I also do want to go to our depth chart just to show you guys. So for the draft, what we're kind of missing out on, if we go to the future, this is what we've drafted basically with this roster, except for Nino Ramirez and Stolad, whatever you pronounce that guy's name is, and Weaver and whatnot. So all the guys with good overalls are players we've drafted. So we have 2 starting pitchers right here that are looking like they're going to be making it soon. Yamazaki, Chu, Lee. Like, I feel like we definitely need closers and a lot of other just players in general. I don't really know what we need the most, to be honest, but I think closers is definitely one of the ones up there. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Tokyo Tropic Turtles Draftable Franchise Mode. So in next episode, we will take it to the Year 3 draft, and hopefully we get some good prospects in to just continue building up that prospect pool. And obviously, hopefully soon enough, we'll have our first win in franchise history once this team actually starts getting their players from AA to the major leagues. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.